Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Intercept here. And did you miss me? Because I've come back with something special. In early 1995, Stephen Chow made what plenty of people now call his masterpiece. A two-part epic about the Monkey King, love, and time travel. And almost nobody showed up. It flopped like a souffle in an earthquake. And one studio bigwig reportedly wrote it off as cultural trash. So how does a film the industry left for dead become a movie an entire generation can recite by heart? One that made more money on a re-release 20 years later than it did the first time around? Well, pour yourself a drink and let me tell you the story of A Chinese Odyssey. Two films, shot back to back, released weeks apart in early 1995. Directed by Jeffrey Lau and loosely based on the classic novel Journey to the West. And I do mean loosely. The way that a paper airplane is loosely based on aviation. But that's the magic of it. Chow takes a sacred myth and runs it through what Hong Kong calls Mao Lei Tao, a style of nonsense comedy. Humour with no logic and no breaks. And then, when you've completely let your guard down, he breaks your heart. One detail that matters for later, this was the debut project of Chow's own film company. He wasn't just the star, he had skin in the game. So let's do a plot recap, shall we? And just to give you a notification here, full spoilers from here on out. So if you want to go in fresh, pause, go watch the movies, and then come back. So part 1, Pandora's Box. 500 years ago, the Monkey King betrays his master, the longevity monk, and is sentenced to be reborn as a human to atone. Jump forward 5 centuries and we meet Joker, also Stephen Chow, a bumbling desert bandit who has no idea he's the reincarnated Monkey King. 2 demon sisters, played by Yami Lam and Karen Mok, arrive hunting that very Monkey King, believing the longevity monk's flesh grants immortality. Joker gets tangled in all of it and stumbles onto a magical artifact, Pandora's Box, that lets him travel through time. And here's where the first film comes alive. Joker starts looping through time over and over, trying to undo his mistakes and save the woman he loves. It ends on a cliffhanger that leaves you genuinely confused, because you need part 2. So, part 2, Cinderella. The time jump drops Joker 500 years into the past, where he meets Xia, a fairy played by Athena Chu. And this is the heart of everything. She drives him mad, but slowly the comedy gives way to a doomed, genuine love. To reclaim his power as the Monkey King and fulfill his destiny, Joker must shed all human desire. Impossible, because he's falling in love. And then comes the ending people actually remember. He accepts his fate, becomes the Monkey King, and walks the road to the West, leaving love behind. The mood of that farewell is a pure, bittersweet ache. One line from the film, 10,000 years, became one of the most quoted movie lines in the entire Chinese-speaking world. Now, every rose has its thorns. Part 1 on its own, it's a mess. It sags in the middle, the gags start repeating themselves, and if you stop there, you'd wonder what all the fuss was about. But here's the thing. These aren't 2 films. They're one story wearing a trench coat. Once part 2 pays off that romance, the whole thing snaps into focus and turns genuinely, unexpectedly moving. This is the best acting Stephen Chow has ever done. Clowning his head off 1 minute, quietly devastating the next. The love between Joker and Xia is the kind of fated connection that pulls 2 people together, whether they like it or not. And now the redemption arc, because it's the best part of the whole story. The film underperformed on release, especially in mainland China, where it was considered a distribution failure. Insiders reportedly thought the script was incomprehensible. It was being rewritten during filming itself. Then pirated VCDs and TV reruns gave it a second life. A new generation of mainland college students watched it on loop. The lines became internet catchphrases, and the cultural trash everyone dismissed became a cultural totem. The proof? When Part 2 was re-released in China in 2017, 22 years later, it earned far more than it ever did in 1995. The audience wasn't wrong, they were just late to the party. So, let's run it through the Intercept scale. Is it going to be missed, grazed, connected, knocked down, or flawless intercept? So first category, action and choreography. The rating is going to get connected. Fun, fantasy wirework from action director Ching Siu-tung, but it's not the point and not why you're here. So story and characters. Knocked down. Baffling in part 1, brilliant by the end of part 2. As one piece, daring, and it sticks the landing. Star power and performance. Flawless intercept. CHOW'S career best. Funny and heartbreaking. Legacy and rewatchability. Flawless intercept. From rejected to a generation's sacred text, with a re-release that outgrossed the original, legacy doesn't get bigger. So the overall verdict here, it's a knockdown. And let me explain the call. Performance and legacy both hit the top tier, so why not flawless intercept overall? Well, because part 1 genuinely tests your patience, and the whole thing only works if you commit to both films. That's a real barrier for a newcomer. But for what it becomes, a messy, hilarious, heartbreaking, immortal knockdown, and the perfect film to come back with. So tell me, did this one land the intercept for you, or did part 1 lose you before the payoff? And let me know which film I should cover next. Cheers, and here's to the next one.